All right, let's go.
All right, here we're live here on the phone with John Sterling, the voice of the New York Yankees. John, how are you doing tonight?
Well, it's a surprise off day, so I was called in the morning by both Susan and Jack, and I happened to be sleeping at the time, and they called it very early, and so I had a day off, surprise day off, and, I got errands done, so actually I feel very, very good, and thank you for having me on your program.
Oh, thank you for joining us. I know you're very busy, with the Yankee season and everything. So just a little
Well, you know why you're busy in baseball, which people sometimes don't understand. They don't really know baseball. There is, you play every day.
Yep.
You never get anything done, and then by the time you think you have things straightened out, you go away again. So, but anyway, I mean that's the sport. So.
Yeah, and my co-host Eric's on with us too, John, just so you know. That's him in the background also. Just a little bit about you really quick. How long has it been since you've been the voice of the Yankees?
Well, my first year was 1989, so this is my 29th year.
Oh, that's a long time, longer than I've been alive.
We'll see. It is a long time then.
So, all right, let's talk about the Yankees a little bit here. They're obviously in first place right now, which is a surprise for me. I'm a diehard Yankee fan, and I didn't think we'd be this good, this early. What surprised you the most about the team so far?
Well, first of all, what you hit on is they're winning. They're in first place. And every team broadcaster, wants his team to do well. As they say, it's good for business. And it's all much more fun. And the games are enjoyed more because you're giving good news instead of bad news. And this year has been even better for me because this is such a good offensive team. They're up there in all the offensive categories. And, I'm a high-tempo announcer. I want big plays and big hits. And so the Yankees are providing that. So they're winning, and they hit and score runs, so it's a pleasure.
John, it's Eric right here with you. And everyone wants to talk about Aaron Judge, obviously, but the person I really want to talk about with you is Starlin Castro. And I know you've been a really big opponent of him, and he's kind of been an unsung hero on this team. Now, the first part about it is how great of a year he's been having, and is it an all-star season? And second, with the future of this organization, where do you see Castro's future with the Torres is looming in the background?
Well, as far as Torres, I mean, obviously he's on the fast track because he wasn't tearing up Double-A, but he started to hit, and then they realized, he's too good for this league, so you better move him up. So, I'm hoping, like every other Yankee fan, that he hits a ton in Scranton and makes them bring him up. So I hope that. I'm sorry, what was the first part of your question, your two-part question?
Oh, how great Castro's been for this team. Is he getting a little overlooked because of how great Judge has been?
Oh, you're right. He's very overlooked. Very. First of all, you can tell that he's doing a good job because they've got him clean up. And oddly enough, he's a great cleanup hitter for this reason. Jackie Robinson had cleanup with those Dodger teams where they hit so many home runs, and he was not a home run hitter. He was a great hitter, but he wasn't a home run hitter. But there'd be people on base, and he'd get big hits, and that's Castro. You almost think he's going to hit a line drive every time, and some are caught. And I think he plays a terrific second base. I'm a big Castro fan. In fact, he and Didi, that's pretty good at second and short. Mm-hmm. That's why Torres and Wade have to play a lot of third base.
And you mentioned them having to play third base. Headley's struggling really bad right now. Do you think maybe that's going to push them to make that move sooner?
No, I don't think so. I would say that they wouldn't make that move for 2 months. I think, they want him to play AAA, And also, Headley's in a slump. Now, he's going to come out of the slump and really start to hit, and he does a very good job at third. So, yeah, if Torres is on the fast track, and I'll tell you a story which happened so far before your time. You weren't even here when I started doing the Yankees. In 1951, and it was a different type of manager then. The managers then really fought with their front office. And Leo DeRocha in spring training wanted this kid center fielder to be with the team, and they wouldn't let him. You know, and they overruled him. No, he's going to go to AAA. He's going to go. Minneapolis was a AAA team at the time, and we're going to send him down to AAA, and he's got a master AAA. You know, all the same stuff. And so he went down. And in May, the Giants were struggling. DeRosa didn't like Bobby Thompson in center field, and he finally got his way. And they called up Willie Mays. Well, of course, Willie Mays at that time was hitting .477. You know, it was late May, like now, and he was hitting .477. So, you know, that's really what you hope Torres does, that he really hits and says, "I'm ready." Okay, and
yep, that's for sure.
You know that, and is it possible? Yeah, but I mean, they're not gonna rush it. That I guarantee. You know, because they think too much. He's 20 years old too.
You mentioned that. You obviously mentioned that you've been covering the Yankees since 1989, and that means you were there for the entire tenure of Mike Mussina. Can you possibly speak on his possible Hall of Fame prospects, as he's kind of gotten some traction over the last couple of years, and he's obviously been mentioned in the same sentence as Curt Schilling? What do you think about Mike Mussina in his Hall of Fame prospects?
Well, I think without question he's a Hall of Famer. His pitching records were terrific. He was a winning pitcher all the time. He was in the rotation all the time. He pitched his entire career, Orioles and Yankees, in the American League East, which really was, forget the pun, a beast in those days. And it's getting to be that way again. And his numbers speak for themselves. He did not win 300 games, but he...
no one does nowadays, though, right?
Oh, yeah, and had a 5-man rotation and all. And he pitched in big games against big teams all the time, and he had great numbers, and I think he's a Hall of Famer.
I think he should be. I mean, I remember the Pedro-Mussina matchups. Those were the most fun ones to watch.
Right.
He was, in pinstripes and everything. Almost as fun as the Clemens days, but not quite. One last question, John, too. We touched on Judge a little bit. Do you think? I personally think he's got a good shot at Rookie of the Year, but great shot. My question is, do you think he's got a shot at MVP if he keeps it up?
Well, I happen to. I brought this up on the air. I'm glad you brought it up. That among others, there have been several who've won Rookie of the Year and MVP, but I know one of them very well. He's, the loveliest man, and what a player, what a competitor, what a player. But Wes Unseld won a Rookie of the Year and MVP with the Bullets in the late 60s, and I was in Baltimore on the air then, and friends, I did some Bullet games, and I was friends with Alden. Kevin Lockery became one of my best friends. That's way before your time. Do those names mean anything to you?
Not really, because they're way too before my time. But I'm enjoying your stories, though. Keep going.
But I mean, have you heard of Wes Unseld?
I have definitely heard of Wes Unseld. Maybe from you, though.
Vaguely, I've heard of them, but
vaguely. Okay. Well, he's a great rebounder, great outlet passer, and he was very wide. And he set the best picks in the NBA. So, great outlet. He had this unbelievable ability to raise his hands over his head and fire the pass, 3/4 of the way down the court. So he got you a lot of layups. Anyway,
right.
It was fun being on with you guys, and I wish you luck.
And folks, that was John Sterling, the voice of the New York Yankees, right here on the Sittin Sportside podcast on your home for Yankees baseball this year, 104.5 The Team. This has been a special edition of the Sittin Sportside podcast. Make sure you join Eric and I next week as we recap our weekend at the Baseball Hall of Fame Classic in Cooperstown.
We'll share our experiences with greats like Ozzie Smith, Goose Gossage,
Luis Soho,
and of course my personal favorite, Juan Pierre.
That's coming up next week on the Sittin Sportside podcast.